My name is Faisal Mohammed. I live in Pretoria, and my business is situated in Tembisa, Midrand.
Tembisa and Midrand. Okay, okay.
Correct. Yeah.
And so Uncle Faisal, apparently, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently your business was one of the businesses that were affected very directly by the recent looting that's taken place over the last few days.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. So can you tell
Yes.
us what it is that actually happened?
On Monday, the 12th, which was last week, we went to work as usual, but we were expecting a strike on the day, and we went to work. I opened up a little bit late. Normally we open at 8 o'clock, and I opened at about 8:45 instead. And shortly thereafter, like 45 minutes later, we were told by the other tenants and the staff that the community was gearing themselves up, getting together, and they could possibly come into our shopping center.
Okay.
So it was advisable to close the shop and go home for the day.
Okay.
So we acted accordingly. At about 10 o'clock, we closed the shop and we left and we came home.
Okay.
And home is in Pretoria, like I said.
G.
Our security was on site during the course of the day. Later that afternoon, at about 7 o'clock in the evening, roughly, we were informed by the security that there's a mob outside our shopping center. They are vast in number, and there is a good possibility that they're going to enter the center and loot our shop.
Sure.
Or the other shop, our shop and the other shops for that matter. And it happened like 5-10 minutes later that they phoned us back and said, listen, the mob has entered the shopping center. They broke down the gate,
Sure.
which was keeping them at bay. They broke down the gate. They entered and they started damaging and destroying and looting our shop and the other shops as well in the shopping center. Our shopping center is fairly small, if I may say so.
Gee.
There's about 12 shops in total in that little center of ours.
Sure.
And behind the hardware store, in the same yard, we've got about 7 storerooms, that catered for all our bulk stock.
Yeah.
And like fools we are, we thought we'd go in there the following day and start the cleanup process, and thought maybe we could salvage whatever was left.
Yeah.
But while we were out there, the mobs in there, I think the best way to explain how they were like a river of people. Very similar to that of our hut. And it was a river of people out there. And they threatened us. They told us to get out of there. But it was an experience of a lifetime. I shall never forget. We were threatened with our lives.
Sure.
We were threatened with our lives. We had to get out of there. And luckily, there was a loyal, good customer of ours that was also with us.
Yeah.
And he actually drove us out of there eventually.
Sure.
We had to drive through the crowds to leave. They did threaten us. They said, if you don't leave here now, we will kill you people.
Allah.
And while we were there, they were looting the storeroom while we were there. We were trying to secure the shop. And they were looting the storerooms while we were on site.
We
felt very threatened.
G. We're sitting here and we're sort of smiling about it now or giggling about it now. But at the end of the day, there's so much that has been lost to so many businesses. In fact, there's an article that I read just a few days ago that spoke about roughly about 2 billion rands worth of retail goods that has been lost since the looting started, which is a period of about a week. That's how much has been lost in total across the country. So if I can ask, Uncle, I mean, we're smiling about it now, but of course this has a financial effect on your business and on your staff as well. How has this affected you in that way?
From a business and materialistic perspective, we have lost a lot of money. The staff definitely has lost their jobs because there's no way that we could start revive this business or start again in the next 3 or 6 months because the building is now condemned.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, today I was out there with the assessors, and the building will definitely have to be broken down and reconstructed. Because, like I explained earlier, on Monday evening the looting took place,
Yes.
and then Tuesday evening the building was actually set alight.
Sure.
So the shops, our shop and the shops next door, and one of our storerooms were set alight and they're made of brick and mortar, but it doesn't help much. It will have to come down and be
Okay.
reconstructed completely. So that's going to take its own
Sure.
course. It could take anything between 6 months to a year. So yes, for now the staff has lost their job.
Sure.
I've lost my job as well,
Gee.
and we've lost a lot of stock. It has had a very negative financial impact.
Gee.
However, I must say that Alhamdulillah, it has strengthened our iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We always believe that,
Gee.
you know what, everything belongs to Allah, and when we leave this world, we'll be leaving with nothing. So
Gee.
this was a reiteration of that, you know, nothing belongs to you.
Gee.
And even if I had it all and I had to close my eyes tonight due to COVID or any other reason,
Gee.
I would not be taking any of that. So
Gee.
it has, you know what, strengthened my iman, definitely.
Sure.
And that of the family as well.
Gee, it's really heartbreaking. I mean, besides the fact that one tries to take some good lesson out of it and try to see some kind of silver lining in the midst of something like this, one cannot deny the effect that it has. And this is not just on the individuals that are directly involved in the business, like yourself and like the particular staff members themselves, but you've got to think about the families that are also affected. You know, the bread that was going to be brought onto the tables of those families that now get lost. And uncle, yourself, your family as well, how this will affect your family. There's so much that one does not consider when making a decision like this. And it's really, really heartbreaking, because this is one story of many that's like this. So if I can ask one final question, you've mentioned how this has strengthened your iman and been a very strong reminder that, you know, nothing in this life is really ours. But aside from that, is there anything else that one can try to draw from this, from a business perspective as well, to learn or to benefit from going forward after having experienced something like this?
And from a materialistic perspective, you know, one should take the necessary precautions. And that would include, you know, making sure the business is insured. And having to accept that at some point, you know, despite the insurance and the security of those that are in a complex and malls, etc., nothing is inevitable. Anything is possible. Our experience has shown us that, you know what, you could lose it all overnight. It's very, very real. So one should take all the necessary precautions, whatever that may be that, you know, insurance or have your security guards, etc., in place. But except at the end of the day, that the reality can strike us at any time. This is a reality that has happened, and it can happen. There's nothing stopping it from happening again tomorrow. So accept and don't become too attached to everything that's materialistic. We're going to definitely leave it. You know, if it's not through strikes and any other means, one day we have to leave it and go. So one needs to plan and prepare accordingly as well.
Perfectly said, uncle. Perfectly said. So this has had a very strong effect on so many people in very different ways. We're talking about a business perspective now. We got to think about, you know, employees, like we mentioned earlier, who have lost jobs now, and the bread that can no longer come onto their tables for their families. We've got to think about the kids that get affected by that, by extension, their education and their development. We've got to think about the economic effects it's going to have going forward. It has been a lot greater than just what we've seen over the last week or so. And I honestly don't know what the lessons are that one really needs to draw from this. But whatever it is, we need to find ways and means to overcome this so that we can do whatever is possible to prevent it from happening again. And I think that really means thinking about the perception and the mindset of those who decide to do something like this. What pushes one over the edge to believe that doing something like this is okay? To take what's not yours at any means.